How you doing, everyone? Welcome along to this video. So, like an idiot, I dropped a video yesterday that was basically saying there was the delay with the 0.3, and what did they go and do? They gave us a beta of a beta. So basically it's the 0.3 but in a sort of beta stage, even though the game's in a beta stage. So what we're going to do in this video, I'm just going to go through sort of menu layouts, new menu layouts, the few things that have been added, but I will try and condense these, or not so much condense, but basically split them up into various videos. So this will just be covering a few things. Then we'll do a video on the sounds, whether they've been enhanced, I mean, be replays and stuff like that, going through all the cars, what my thoughts are on the force feedback and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe 3 or 4 videos. So as you can see, this is the old sort of menu-ish that you're greeted with when you start, or used to start the, I think it's 0.2.2. So as you can see, it basically tells you the layout. Obviously it's the third early access is what we're going to obviously get into now. So we'll then run on to the next menu. As you can see, there is a music in the background as well. And yeah, it just goes through obviously what's been added. You've got to take this with a pinch of salt because it is a beta of a beta, which sounds quite strange, but yeah, that's the way it is. And as I said, we're going to go through, but in separate videos. So as I said, this video is just showing you really the difference in the layouts, and I think the sceneries, and sort of a few little things like that. We're not going to cover tracks, cars, sounds and everything else and graphics just yet. That will be in another video on which I'll probably try and release them every day. It obviously all depends how I can make them. So yeah, let's move on. So going to go through the old menus quickly. This is what the old layout is. As you can see, version 0.2.2. This is what technically it's running now, unless you get the code, which it is open to everyone. I will leave a code in the description box below. So like I said, just yeah, quickly going to run through these. I'm not going to go into great detail because they haven't really changed the actual sub menus. So then we're going to move on to the new layout. As you can see, multiplayer being the big one. As you can see, server list and special events. I tried to go on the multiplayer yesterday, and when it was basically released at sort of 6 PM my time, and I could not get into any online multiplayer server, which was a bit annoying because I fancied giving it a go. So hopefully once the sort of hype settles down, we'll be able to get into some of them. Some are locked, some aren't. So, and obviously all the rest pretty much seem the same. Settings and everything else. So yeah, not much going on there. The menus seem a lot more snappy as well as soon as you load in on the version 0.3, because they were quite slow and frustrating to load stuff in before. Spin the car around, all the usual stuff that you can do. So we will now move on to what the menus are like as soon as you start whether it be probably the same as a multiplayer, I would have thought. Like I said, I haven't been in one, but the sort of offline characteristics. This is the old as you sort of load in. So like I said, we'll go through vehicle setup. Like I said, they're definitely a lot slower. The menus were in the older version, that's for sure. Restart sessions is sort of self-explanatory, and obviously we won't quit. So loading in, loading times probably seem about the same, just the menus seem, like I said, a lot more snappy, quicker. As you can see, this time the door's open. I'm not too sure if this changes when you load in. Slightly different. One will have a door open, the other won't. As you can see, there is a timetables this time, which we didn't have before. Setup is the same. We've got replays, which again is the same. This layout is obviously different, as you can see. I think it's added player hub. I think that was. Going through the menus too quick. Also the MFD, a bit like ACC, as you can see. I'm controlling this with a mouse. You can map it to a button on your wheel, as you can see. So you can change everything on the fly instead of jumping out the menus like you used to have to, change everything and then jump back into a session or load a session in to then work out whether your force feedback is right and everything else. Nice touch with the gamepad as well. Looks like they're looking at that respect as well, not just people with wheel and pedals. Okay, let's go on to what we're doing now, the sceneries. So I think there was 2 sceneries added. As you can see, this is the old sceneries. So like I said, there's only 2 sceneries added, which seems maybe they could have added a few more. I don't know. Maybe it's taxing on performance, or it takes them a while to load them through. I do like this scenery. Like I said, this is it. This is still in the old, or this is the old scenery, the showroom or car dealership as it's called. And now onto the new. And as you can see, we have 2. We have the living room, and if I scroll down, I think it's, there you go, Evo Garage, which we'll go and have a look in the living room. Doesn't seem too bad. And go into the Evo Garage, which again, yes, sort of nice touch. I suppose for people taking pictures and stuff like that, it's nice to have these different sceneries. Not too sure if you can save these and have them as soon as you load in. I suppose you can, but yeah, nice touch. So, but yeah, that's it. Just a quick sort of 7-8 minute video. I didn't want to ramble on. I didn't want to put too much content in. As I said, I'm going to split these up into sort of multiple videos. But as I said, what I've seen straight off the bat is snappier menus. Menus are slightly laid out different, with different, obviously, stuff that's been added that wasn't in the 2.2. And yeah, not really much else. As I said, I'm not gonna try and go into a lot. I'm gonna cover these like graphics and sounds and everything else that have apparently been changed, and obviously the cars that have been added into different videos. One thing I did notice again, but you've still got to take this, it's a beta. The whole sort of game is still in a beta phase, where this is a sort of early access of an early access, so to speak. That yeah, I did have issues when changing sort of graphical settings or putting the sort of game under load with doing that, and I did actually manage to blue screen my PC, and it did shut down. So yeah, but you've got to take this with a pinch of salt. As I said, they're still early access. So, but for me, they seem to be progressing. Yes, they did take a while to get this update out, and it's not officially out yet. But yeah, it's not too bad. But as I said, keep an eye out for the next videos. One will be like sort of graphics. One will be the sounds of cars, and we'll go through the new tracks and everything else. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I'll catch you on the next video.